welcome to the Radical Responsibility Podcast. I'm Dr. Fleet Mall, and I'm excited to guide you on a journey of authentic transformation. In each episode, I'll bring you insights from leading experts to explore trauma recovery, mindfulness practices, positive psychology, and innovative breakthroughs in health, wellness, and life optimization. This is a space for real conversations that inspire meaningful change, helping you find alignment with the person you are always meant to be. Let's get started. What if transformation isn't just about thinking differently, but feeling differently? Science shows us that true change happens when we align not just our minds, but also the neural networks in our hearts and guts. This heart-mind connection is the key to deeper healing, resilience, and expanded awareness. That's why I created the Heart-Mind All-Access Membership and Community, a space designed to help you rewire your nervous system, cultivate heart intelligence, and live with greater clarity and purpose. With over 1,000 hours of transformational teachings specifically curated to meet your needs, you'll learn from world-renowned meditation teachers, neuroscientists, and experts in neuroplasticity, all sharing powerful tools to help you shift your mindset and heart set, regulate your emotions, and unlock your full potential. You'll also gain unlimited access to every summit and course we've ever produced, a treasure trove of wisdom worth over $10,000 and growing, plus live gatherings and an inspiring global community to support your journey. If you're ready to step into a more heart-centered, connected, and conscious life, I invite you to join us. Click the link to learn more and start your journey today. What if the only thing standing between you and your greatest potential was your level of commitment? Today, I'm joined by my friend and legendary business coach, John Assaraf, a brain science and business expert who's helped millions of people rewire their thinking, up-level their identity, and achieve extraordinary results. I still remember when John shared the moment his life changed, when a mentor asked him a question that cut straight to the heart. Are you interested in your goals? Or are you committed to achieving them? In our conversation, we unpack why most people don't stay stuck because they can't change, but because they haven't fully committed to changing. If you're ready to move forward and to move beyond half measures and step into a mindset that grows stronger under pressure, this conversation will show you how to upgrade your belief system, your business, and your daily life from the inside out. Let's dive in. My name is Dr. Fleet Mall, your co-host for the session, and I'm really thrilled to be here today with John Assaraf. Welcome, John.
Fleet, it's great to be with you again.
So, John, you have built 5 multi-million-dollar businesses, and hate to even ask you to encapsulate, your kind of life story into a couple of minutes here to get our interview started, but something about how did you end up becoming a successful entrepreneur, and if there's anything you learned along the way that were some of the keys to help you break through or create the mindset that allowed you to be successful in that way.
Sure. Thanks, Fleet. Well, hey, everyone. I think the first thing is by doing exactly, what you and I are doing right now. When I was younger, I looked at a lot of other people and saw them achieving success, whether it was at the local YMCA or parents of friends of mine that maybe I went to school with. I was always wondering, how did they achieve success? And the reason that was an open question for me is my mother and father struggled their whole life. They struggled in their relationship. They struggled in finances. They struggled in being, really great parents because they didn't have the upbringing or the education and the skill building that it requires to achieve levels of success that, we learned from others. And so I became a voracious learner, starting really at the age of 19, when I met this one mentor who asked me what I wanted to achieve in my life. And, I shared with him at the time, I wanted to have a car. I wanted to move out of my parents' house. I wanted to get a better job because at the time I was making $1.65 an hour. And he asked me to dream and to come up with, if you could have whatever you wanted, what would it be? What kind of home would you want? What kind of car would you want? Where would you like to travel? Who would you like to help? What kind of experiences would you like to have? And he actually made me write it down on a sheet of paper. And he called that creating a vision for what I would love to have my life like. And then he asked me one question, Fleet. And this one question I've been asking myself, for literally 44 years now. The question he asked me once he saw what I wanted to achieve is, are you interested in achieving these things, or are you committed to achieving these things? And when I asked him what's the difference, he said, well, if you're interested, you'll do what's easy and convenient. He said, if you're interested, you'll use your stories that you only went to grade 11 high school and that you failed English and math as an excuse. And you'll talk about how your father beat you as a reason why you're not doing well. You'll talk about all the reasons why you can't. But when somebody's committed, they let go of anything that is not serving them. They upgrade their identity, they upgrade their beliefs, they upgrade their knowledge and skills to match the things that they want to do, be, and have. And he said, so are you interested? Are you committed? And at the ripe young age of 19, which was May of 1980, long time ago, which you remember, I said I was committed. And then he began to instruct me, to guide me, to show me. That was the beginning, was like I committed to a life of abundance and a life that was extraordinary versus below average and way less than ordinary.
And you've gone on to similarly mentor thousands, if not millions, and that's just so wonderful. But you were so fortunate to have that early mentor to give you that message and ask you those questions. That's amazing. So you spoke about some of the things that can be blocks for all of us. And even when we really, you know, try to step into a commitment to be an entrepreneur, to be successful, to get that book written, whatever it is, we're often still run into fear and self-doubt and things that can really get in our way. And now you've developed a lot of tools to help people get beyond that. And within your NeuroGym and Inner Size programs, I wonder if you could talk about the ability to actually rewire our brain using some of these tools to overcome things like fear and self-doubt and really step into our possibilities and follow through on those commitments.
Yes. I think, a really good direction for us to at least have a dialogue to get everybody engaged with you and I is to ask a couple of questions. And that is, was there any baby ever born since the beginning of time that was born with, a fear of failing or a fear of not being good enough or smart enough or worthy enough? Or a belief that they're too young or too old, or that because they're this ethnicity or another one, or born into this family or that family, they couldn't achieve success. So if we asked ourselves, were we born with a self-image? The answer is no. Were we born with fears? No. Were we born with self-doubt? No. Were we born with limiting beliefs or empowering beliefs? The answer is no. So the question then beckons, how did you and I develop, and everybody else who may be watching or listening, what we believe to be true? Where did we develop this self-image that we're good enough or not good enough? Where we have self-confidence or we lack confidence? And that just comes through our experience and our environment, the parents we had, the teachers we had, the friends we played with, the siblings that we grew up with or didn't. It formulated these concepts or neural networks or patterns or associations in our brain. And we develop these beliefs, and beliefs are nothing more than reinforced patterns. Fears are so misunderstood. And let me give you an example. First and foremost, it's important for everybody to understand that every brain, human brain, functionally works the same way. Just like every car functionally works the same way. Just like somebody could be afraid of snakes and other people could be a zoologist, loves snakes. It's not the snake that creates the fear. It's the experience and the association that triggers the fear circuit. Same thing with stress. Stress is a circuit in the brain. When that circuit is activated, it releases neurochemicals. So does fear. So does love. For some people, sex equals pain, and other people, sex is like, oh my God, it's phenomenal. So it's usually not the thing, but it's the wiring or the meaning that we have learned to give the thing that causes the feeling that dictates what we take action on or don't. So I think as an entrepreneur, if you're a bootstrapping entrepreneur or you've reached $50,000 or $100,000 a year or a month, there's certain things you don't know to get to the next level of success. And not knowing in the human brain is uncertainty. When the human brain feels uncertain, it does not feel safe. When it does not feel safe, it activates the stress and fear circuit as a means of protection. So there's nothing wrong with the circuitry. The issue is in most people not understanding What do I do when I feel afraid? Whether I'm afraid of failing, afraid of losing money, afraid of making a mistake, afraid of being judged, embarrassed, ashamed, ridiculed, rejected, unloved, abandoned. Those are all real possibilities when we don't know what we don't know, or we don't know how to do something. So, what I teach people how to do is understand that first, you don't get mad at the circuitry. You don't get mad, you don't get upset at your brain working perfectly. When you are procrastinating, you're protecting. When you're self-sabotaging, you're protecting. When you are moving away from stuff, you're in a protective mode. And the question we should be asking ourselves is, what am I protecting myself from? What is it that I want? Where am I? What do I need to believe in order to really go after what I want? But then what are the emotions, the energy within me, the energy that's in motion within me that'll cause me to take action instead of procrastinate or self-sabotage or have this self-doubt and rumination on negativity, which can be normal. Something I want to show you. I don't know if you can see up on my wall. I have little Frankie's monster right over there. That's one part of our brain. And we have Einstein. That's like the genius part of our brain. And that's the protective part of our brain. So we have, these parts of our brain that are both like members of our wonderful orchestra. And imagine if you had a member of your orchestra that's there to protect you and was always going to like talk negatively. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if the lights go out? What if you lose? What if you're in pain? What if this? What if negative? But your job is to be aware of it. And I know you're a lifelong meditator as well, and observe it, right? And not judge it, but just observe it. And then you can deliberately activate, your Einstein part of your brain says, okay, I wonder what's triggering, this thought right now, or this emotion right now, or what's causing me to procrastinate or self-sabotage or to go and do something else other than what I should be doing. So I've really looked at the neuromechanics, what's really happening inside this, some people call it an organ of ours, our brain. I like to call it an organism since it's forever growing and learning and developing. But most people have never learned even how to use their own brain anywhere nearly enough like they have maybe their phone, computer, or car. So we're talking about entrepreneurship. Listen, it's 2025. How to get more leads? We know how to do that. How to make more money, how to make more sales, how to help more people, how to do marketing better, how to do selling better, how to lead better, how to do finance or legal or product development better. We can have those answers literally in 60 seconds using AI right now. So that's not the problem. The problem is an inner game problem, not an outer game problem. So we can dive down some of those channels, Fleet, but that'll give us some foundational stuff to focus on.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you're really emphasizing the importance of mindset and the inner game of working with our own organism. The brain is this fabulous, incredible organism we have, which has limitless possibilities, but can also be stuck in a lot of old conditioning. And you're really pointing to that growth mindset, the work of Carol Dweck and others, right? It just changes everything when we have that versus that limited mindset. So based on your understanding of current brain science, you developed a brain-based approach to marketing and understanding what's involved in our brain when we're making buying decisions or we're not making buying decisions, right? And so how can we market in a way where we're really creating genuine value? But, we can be creating all the value in the world, but still, if we're not smart about the marketing, people's own fear will keep them from enrolling in something that could be really good for them. We need to create something that's really adding value for our prospective customers and clients, but at the same time, we still have to be smart about how we invite them into the willingness to try something with us. Hey friends, Fleet Mall here. I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of you, our listeners and supporters, for being part of the HeartMind community. Thanks to your support, we've been named one of Inc. 5000's fastest growing companies in America for the second year in a row, ranking at number 1,305. It's an incredible honor and a reflection of how many people are embracing mindfulness, compassion, and conscious living together. We're so grateful to be on this journey with you.
Yeah. So when we understand a little bit about how does the human brain process information, right? So When light is traveling through my eyes or sound is traveling through my ears, my ear canal, understand that the brain slows down, that energy, light energy or sound energy for our brain to process it. And what happens that most people don't understand is there's a way that the brain processes all incoming information. So there's an order to it. So the number one thing that our brain is looking for in the environment, or if you go back to caveman days, what was the number one priority of a caveman before eating?
Threats, avoiding threats.
Safety, survival. The number two priority of the brain was avoidance of any pain or discomfort, because if I had, pain or discomfort, then I couldn't hunt, I couldn't eat, I couldn't take care of my family, I couldn't take care of my tribe, I couldn't take care of each other or myself. So first is avoidance of, or anything that is safety related or survival related. But the second one is anything to do with pain, suffering, discomfort. So if we know, I'll give you an example. For my students, that are in business that have a program, product, or services, all right, I have one student's name is John Assaraf. He's a survivalist, and his clients hire him, to learn how to survive when they're out hiking in the wilderness and life is on the line. And they pay him thousands of dollars to teach them how to stay alive. Number one, prevent dying, but how to stay alive in case something happens. And he charges, $5, $10, $25,000. Now his marketing is all geared towards survival, safety, and avoidance of anything disastrous happening while you're in the wilderness. So he has an audience he's talking to with very specific fears, very specific pains they're looking to avoid, and very specific outcomes of pleasure they want to have. But the human brain does not focus on the pleasure first. Our brain processes information in marketing. All right, is this thing that I'm reading, watching, seeing going to help me with my survival or my safety or my family's safety or my company's safety? If you're in that type of a business, you lead with that. And the newspapers have a terrible saying, it goes, if it bleeds, it leads. So your marketing, the number one priority of all marketing in 2025 and 2026 is number one is to get people's attention. Now, why would we do that? Well, 2 billion posts a day, 2 billion. You and I have to figure out how, while somebody is scrolling left, scrolling right, up and down TikTok, going from a Zoom meeting to TikTok to Instagram to Facebook to YouTube to LinkedIn to whatever platform they're on, you and I have to bypass what they're there for and interrupt them. It's called interruptive marketing. And the only way we're going to do that is by creating a marketing message that is going to go right into their subconscious mind that is focusing on safety, survival, and avoidance of pain or discomfort first. Then we lead them, once we have their attention, down a path to keep their attention and create trust and rapport by helping them. So when we're doing what I call is neuromarketing, we have to understand that, a lot of times people think that you're marketing to the conscious brain, but you're not. All information is coming into the subconscious mind first. And if there is a resonant match around something that somebody is afraid of happening now or in the future, if something has to do with their safety, mental, emotional, physical, financial safety, they're going to pay attention to that first. Now, there are some people that might just want to waste time on social media. And you have to interrupt those people because they're there having fun, wasting time. So your marketing has got to be even more precise in 2025 than it ever has, especially now with AI that is going to be flooding every social media channel going forward.
Wow. So, among our audience, I'm sure there's entrepreneurs and a great diversity of types of business, B2C, B2B. And some businesses have very long sales cycles, some very short, B2C, online, digital sales, very short sales cycle. But somewhere along the line, you've gotten somebody's attention and you've gotten them into some kind of process where you're nurturing them and enrolling them in the value of the product you offer or the service you offer. And then at some point, whether it's short or long sales cycle, they're going to make a decision to buy or not to buy, to purchase or not purchase. And so what are some of the emotions involved in those decisions? What are some of the emotional triggers that are important to facilitate so someone's willing to make that purchase decision?
So one of the things I teach all my students is meet them at the pain and lead them to the gain. So for everybody as a program, product, or service, we're all really in the transformation business, right? But we're really in the transportation business. People don't like, let's forget about, buying a candy bar, at the grocery store because we're hungry or we just like, sweets. If somebody's buying a program, product, or service, they're actually buying how the outcome will make them feel. We don't buy programs, products, or services. We buy how we feel the outcome will be. And if we can create a feeling that people want and they can afford what it is that you are asking for, that feeling, for that. I know we think we're selling them this product or program, but we're not selling that. We're selling them a future state that might be 10 minutes from now, or it might be 10 weeks from now. And so I always ask myself, what is it that my programs, product, service help people move away from and remove from their life that they no longer want? And what is that worth to them? What is that worth to them mentally? What is it worth to them emotionally? What is it worth them financially? To have that peace of mind, to have that confidence, to have that certainty, to have that consistency, to have that predictability. That's what I sell. And people are willing to pay me personally. My private clients paid $10,000 an hour for me to help give them that. Now, I'm a very, very high-end coach or consultant. You can get what I do from other people probably a lot less, but people want to work with me because of the work that I've done in the world. So you have to ask yourself this question: what is the ultimate state that they're looking for that your program, product, service, or thing will give them? And then before you even get into the selling side of it, you have to be in the qualifying side of it. Can I show you something? I have this over here. I'm going to just show you this graph that I show all of my students. And this graph says 5%, 15%, 80%, right? So let's say there's 100 people. There's 5% that want, need, and can afford what you have right now. You need to find them first. There's 20% that want, need, maybe can afford, but they're not ready right now. So you need to nurture them through dialogue, qualification, information, and putting them through a proper process. 80%, stop marketing to them. They don't want, need, or can afford what you have. So all of your marketing should be on this 20%. Now, this 20%, what you need to know as a business owner in order to do marketing right is what are their biggest, that if we said, okay, let's just think about one person who wants, needs, and can afford what you have. Let's think of one person. What is a male or female? What age group? Where are they? Now let's answer these questions. That one person, do you know what his or her biggest pain is right now that they're experiencing in their life or business or whatever, that your program, product, or service eliminates? Write that down. There's marketing for you. Do you know what his or her biggest fear is right now as it relates to their personal life, family life, business life? Market to that. Do you know what he or she is so frustrated with right now that your program, product, or service could help alleviate? So we're always looking for what are the biggest pains, fears, frustrations, irritations that they're having right now or they're worried about in the future. Your marketing starts there by addressing those things and meeting them right at that. I'll give you an example, a crazy example. Hey, whoever's listening right now, if you have really, really painful, itchy hemorrhoids, pay attention. Now, for those of you who don't have hemorrhoids or pay attention, if you're a little behind the 8 ball right now and you don't have enough money in the bank and you're tired of being broke and you're frustrated and embarrassed by it, pay attention, because I want to share with you a technique that will help you get out of that. So what I just did, whether it's hemorrhoids or a lack of money causing pain, I can talk to people directly about what they're experiencing. And in doing that, you don't even talk to the conscious brain. This is what most people don't understand. We're always talking to the subconscious brain first. And if there's a resonant match with what I am either thinking or feeling right now, or I have been thinking or feeling, it sends a message for us to pay attention to that person, thing, video, audio, text message. So we want to know their pains, fears, frustrations, irritations. And then we also want to know, like, what do they want? What do they need? What do they aspire to have? What are their goals? So you tell them, if you want to move away from this and you want to achieve this, pay attention. I have a book that'll help you, a video, a checklist, an infographic, a gift, a masterclass, a personal consultation for free. Now I can say, if you are this and you have these issues, challenges, and or wants, needs, or aspirations, then pay attention because I have a way to help you. You will get rid of everybody that you should not be talking to, the 80%. You'll only be talking to the people that are in your orbit. And then your job, my job, is to follow this simple rule. Ready? Don't make me think. Keep it really simple for people to understand what's step one, what's step two, what's step three, what's step four, and just help me move along these steps so I don't have to think, and you make it easy for me to say yes to you.
Well, you're so good at speaking directly to the subconscious that when you were doing the one about hemorrhoids, I had to check in. Do I have hemorrhoids? Fortunately, I don't. But you had me for a minute there. So,
And I could use anything there, right?
yeah, absolutely.
I could say, hey, have you ever been afraid of snakes? And I'll get people's attention. They're afraid of snakes.
Yeah.
The people who are not afraid of snakes, they go, no, not me. They opt out. So marketing, by its very nature, opts in the right people, opts out the wrong people. And here's the real gift, everyone, for what marketing is. Ready? This will change all of your lives. I don't care if you're doing, $1 a year in revenue or $100 million. Here's the essence of all great marketing. Great marketing is not about the prospect knowing about how good your program, product, or service is. It's not about your branding. All great marketing gets the prospect or suspect to viscerally feel, you get me. You understand what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing. You understand me maybe even better than I understand myself, and you can explain it to me, and then you can show me a path away from this and towards what I want better than I have been able to do it on my own thus far. That's great marketing.
Well, what you're so powerfully communicating, John, is that as human beings, we are emotional decision makers. And it's well known, like, or we're looking to buy a car, we might spend weeks in Consumer Reports doing all our study and analysis, but then we go on the car lot and make a completely emotional decision because that red one over there just really floats our boat, right? So we're emotional decision makers.
Well, we're emotional decision makers, but there's a part before even the emotions, right? So there's this instinctual part of us, okay, that is deeper than even the amygdala side that's reacted as an emotion. And that is, the part of us that is genetically engineered, predisposed for 150 million years as Homo sapiens or, humans in this species to avoid pain and discomfort and seek safety, survival before pain or pleasure and gain. So when we understand that words is just energy, we need to make sure we use the right words in the right order at the right time. Words on a piece of paper, your headline, your byline, that's your New York real estate, whether you get attention or not. The first 4 or 5 words you use on a social post and a video, that's all you have. You have a second. You don't have 10, 15 seconds anymore. People's attention spans have gone to near zero. So your communication has got to be near perfect. And there's no room anymore, for, I made a mistake with a new audience because they're gone. It's fast food now.
So in terms of people maybe familiar with the triune brain idea, the brain is one holistic enterprise, very complex and interdependent, but still there are these three functional areas: the reptilian brain that's all about fight or flight and survival that you've been referencing, and then the midbrain with the amygdala and the limbic system that's about
Right.
emotional processing. So we're really addressing those two parts of the brain. And if we get somebody up lost in their neocortex thinking about things, we may have lost them already.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get them into that neocortex, the thinking part of their brain. But from a wiring perspective, the emotional brain sends signals to the logical brain, but the logical brain doesn't send signals down to the emotional brain. The emotional brain, okay, is really what controls, but the instinctual brain is involved in this as well initially to get the attention. And then we want to lead people by meeting them where they're at and leading them to where they want to be.
So if you kind of referenced this already, John, but I wonder if you could talk a little bit about our ability to reframe belief systems and our own as entrepreneurs. You mentioned some of these negative beliefs that resulted from our childhood conditioning and experiences and so forth that could get in the way of actualizing our lives and our dreams and so forth. And then in some ways, our marketing is also reframing beliefs possibly to on some level for our prospective clients and customers. I wonder if you could first talk about an entrepreneur's need to reframe their own beliefs, the ones that could be getting in their way, and then how, in some level, our customer, our client is going to buy when they somehow have a belief that what we're offering is either going to help them avoid that pain or get rid of that pain or it's going to meet that pleasure that they're looking for. So I
Sure.
wonder if you could first talk about it in terms of our own brain and the need to be reframing beliefs that get in our own way, and the fact that we actually can do that we can actually change our brain.
Yeah. So, it was 20, 30 years ago, we used to believe we're hardwired, right? That you're just like your mother, you're just like your father. Oh my God, you remind me of your grandfather or grandmother. And yeah, there's genetic predispositions. But again, if we just think about a belief as nothing more than a pattern like software, right? Like software in your computer. We upgrade software all the time on our computer, on our cell phones, even in our cars. Well, why not upgrade your own software? What if our beliefs was just like software, right? Something that was encoded, whether it was because of things you heard, things you saw, things you experienced, things you were told were true about you when you didn't have the ability to go, that's not true about me. So if a belief is nothing more than a reinforced pattern, then can we deliberately create and reinforce a more powerful pattern, a new pattern? And the answer is, of course, the science of neuroplasticity means that the brain has the ability to be plastic and moldable, and we can refire to rewire our beliefs about ourselves, our self-image, our beliefs about, our capabilities, our identity. And so, one of the things, for example, that I started to do literally 44 years ago is when I had my first goal, and Fleet, you'll love this. I was making, $1.65 an hour. And my first goal was to make $10,000 a month. I think I was making $75 a week, right? $300 a month. I wanted to go to $10,000 a month. And I thought it was like only millionaires made $10,000 a month back then. And so my mentor said to me, he says, great, like what would you need to believe in order to feel self-confident that you can make $10,000 a month? That's why I guess I would need to believe that I'm smart enough. He said, good, write that down. I'm so happy and grateful for the fact that I am smart enough to earn $10,000 a month. What else would you need to believe? Well, I would need to believe that I'm worthy of it. I would need to believe I deserve it. I would need to believe I'm capable of doing it. I would need to believe that I can learn the knowledge and the skills. I would need to believe that I can develop the habits. So write it down, write it down, write it down. So I wrote it all down. I'm so happy and grateful that I now have the habits. I'm so happy and grateful that I now feel deserving of. I'm so happy and grateful for the fact that. And I wrote it down. I go, now what do I do with it? He says, well, what I want you to do, and you talked about the triune brain, I'll give you like a triad system. So he says, now I want you to visualize it. See yourself earning 10 grand a month. So I closed my eyes and I would like try to see myself earning 10 grand a month. And I just saw like black and blurry and nothing. He goes, like, where would you travel if you were earning $10,000 a month? I said, oh, Hawaii. I remember Hawaii came up first. and then the Caribbean, and then Florida. I says, and what kind of car would you drive? Oh, that's easy. I would be driving a Mercedes-Benz convertible. Great. And what kind of house would you have? Oh, I'd have a 4-bedroom house. And who would you help? I said, oh, if I was making 10 grand a month, I would help my father. He doesn't make enough money. He's a cab driver. He's a gambler. My mother works really hard as a seamstress. I would help her. And as he asked me what I would do with the $10,000 a month, all of a sudden I can visualize and I could feel. So the triad was visualize what it would be like for that affirmation to be real. How would you behave if you had the self-confidence right now? How would you think? What would you believe to be true about yourself if you had the self-confidence, the self-image, the identity? And so I would go into the visualization of the affirmation. So I would visualize part one of the triad. Then I would affirm, so as visualize, affirm it that yes, this is true, this is happening right now, because I wanted to create and reinforce a new pattern. And then he said, once you visualize and affirm, I now want you to confirm. And what did that mean? What does it mean to visualize, affirm, and confirm? He says, now I want you to go out for the next hour and take action as if you're making 10 grand an hour. You believe these things to be true. Take the action aligned with the visualization and the affirmation. I said, okay, well, what should I do? He says, well, the confirm is if somebody's making $10,000 a month, for example, they'd be making phone calls, since I was selling real estate back then as a 19-year-old, right? Or I was door knocking. Phone calls or door knocking. Is I want you to go and door knock on 50 doors today, and I want you to call 100 people today. I was like, wow, okay, well, what should I say? He said, well, here's a script to learn. So I learned the script for door knocking. I learned the script for phone calling. And you know what? 6 months later, I was making $10,000 a month. So visualize, affirm, confirm. So you always confirm by following through with a little bit of the behavior with what you're visualizing and affirming. That creates the neural networks that you need, because the visceral learning, the neural pattern is created not just in the visualization, which it is, because visualization is a simulation. Affirmation, okay, is affirming in one's mind. It's just another way to get that neural pattern created and anchored. But then it's in the taking of the action that it cements, because now we have excitement, we have emotion, we have cortisol, epinephrine, we have fear, we have dopamine, all the neurochemicals responsible for coalescing, okay, the pattern like glue. And so I learned how to do that 44 years ago, and I haven't stopped. And I've taught it to over 1 million students in the last number of years. So those are just some of the ways that you can do this.
It's incredibly empowering. And we're going to talk at the end of our conversation today about a wonderful free ebook that goes through all that you're going to offer.
I have something that I just finished writing. It's another one of my new books. It's called The Power of Visualization: Unleash Your Brain's Full Potential to Manifest Your Biggest Goals and Dreams. And what I did is I created about a 20-page book. And I'm going to put this on Amazon, but we're going to give it to all of your watchers, followers as our gift today. And we'll show you how to do that afterwards.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So, you were talking about some of the keys to marketing before. And so let's say, you've gotten somebody's attention, which is job one, right? And it's getting harder and harder. So we got to break through, get their attention, interrupt what they're doing. And that's probably going to be around some kind of pain that focuses their attention they're concerned about. And then, so we have that pain awareness, and then, there's a solution.
But yeah, it's pain, fear, frustration, or irritation. Or we can also talk about wants, needs, goals, and aspirations. So we have 8 different things that we could lead with, but I always like to lead with 80% on the pains, fears, frustration, irritations.
Which is the way the brain is structured anyway. So it's also Maslow's hierarchy of needs as well. So we've gotten their attention. around that as you're describing, but at some point they have to believe that what we're offering is actually going to help them avoid that pain or reach that solution or have that pleasure. So what's involved in changing because their initial belief may be a sense of wariness, like somebody's trying to sell me something. Although if our marketing is really good, maybe that we won't get them into that mindset. But nonetheless, they've got to come to believe that, yes, I believe this could do it for me.
Yeah. So first, once we get their attention, the very next step is we have to build some level of trust and rapport. So everybody promises everything now. Pay attention to me, follow my this, eat my that, watch my this, buy my that. And so we're all like, I'm interested, but I'm scared because the last time I trusted, or my friend trusted, or my daughter or mother or husband or wife trusted, they got burned. So we're standing guard, and that's okay. So we want to build trust and rapport. So why not give value in advance? Like give value in advance. Like show me. Don't tell me. Show me. So I'll give you an example. I just gave you this triad system: visualize, affirm, confirm. Like do that. I'll even give you free book to show you how to do that for free. And listen, you like what I do, you like what Fleet does, look deeper into what else we have, right? So we want to give value in advance. We want to showcase our expertise. We want to showcase who we are. Listen, people feel, right? People can tell whether I'm bullshitting right now, whether I'm caring, whether I want to give, right? And everybody wants to buy, but nobody wants to be sold. So why, if you're really good at whatever it is that you do, if your product or service is really good, have you ever been traveling? You're walking down a boardwalk and they give you a piece of pizza or a piece of their Italian food or a piece of their seafood to taste the food. You go, oh my God. And then you go look at the restaurant and there's tons of people there, or their ice cream. Well, they're giving you a taste in advance. Well, showcase your work. And then, since people are skeptical, show me how it works. Like people are always asking, what is this? Why should I care? How much is it? How does it work? How long will it take? Will this work for me? What evidence do you have? Remember I said to you earlier, don't make me think? Those are the 7 things that are going on in their head. What is it? Why should I care? How much is it? Okay. How will it help me with my program, well, my problem, pain, whatever it is? What evidence do you have? How much does it cost? How long will it take? What if it doesn't work for me? That's the other one. Those are, 7, 8 things that you need to answer sometime in the discussion, whether it's online or offline, one-to-one, one-to-many. That's why I said earlier, don't make me think. You need to answer all of these things along the way. So if I take your X, if I read your book, if I use your checklist, if I get your infographic, if I watch your videos, if I buy your X, like answer those questions for me and then show me evidence to take my risk factor down so that I feel safe. Remember safety and security. I want safety and security first. I want to avoid pain or discomfort, making the wrong decision second. I want to conserve energy. Don't make me think third. Then I want my pleasure fourth. So there's a hierarchy in neuromarketing and neuroselling. And when people feel that they like you, they know you, they trust you, and you've shown them how this can impact them, and they want it, need it, and can afford it, you don't have to do any selling. People like, how do I sign up? How do I join you? Because I want to be part of this.
Wonderful. So in your experience with your own businesses and all the many thousands of business clients you've helped, in our audience, the wonderful creative entrepreneurs in our audience, they may be at various stages, but we often find ourselves stuck in these plateaus. Maybe we've gotten to 6 figures, maybe we've gotten to 7 figures, and it just figures, I don't see how I grow from here. I can only do so much of X, right? And we kind of get stuck in these plateaus. And I wonder if your experience, what helps people kind of get unstuck and take their game and take their business to the next level in your experience.
Yeah. Businesses go through different stages. From 0 to 100,000 is a stage, 100,000 to 1 million is a stage. 5 to 10 million is a stage, 10 to 25, 50 million is a stage, 50 to 100 is a stage, 100 million to 1 billion is a stage. And every stage requires new systems, new processes, sometimes new people. And especially what you have to really be aligned with right now, like not next year, right now, AI has just changed the game. AI has changed the game forever. So whatever your processes, systems, in 2021, 2, 3, 4, they're history. They are history. You have to retool right now. You have to adapt right now. AI this year, if you're a one-person shop or a five-person shop, you can use AI to do the work of a 50-person shop or business. Now, the fact that you may not know how to do it, that means you need to upskill yourself or bring people on your team that are upskilling. I am retooling my entire company for every department to be an AI-powered department. Every department. We just had our meeting this morning, okay, talking about that again, which we've been doing now for the last 100 days. So everybody has to retool your mindset, retool your skill set, retool your systems and processes based on AI ready now and change ready now. And that just requires another version of you. So I always have this reminder on my desk of the monarch butterfly here to remind me, I want to keep evolving from the caterpillar that I've gotten used to being to the monarch butterfly that I want to be. Then I go through the metamorphosis again. Then this becomes, convenient, normal, habitual, comfortable. And then I have to interrupt that cycle again and become another new version of me. So what got you here will not get you there, except the mindset, okay, that you can change and you can adapt and you can shift and you can become a better, newer version of you.
That's the amazing thing, John, about this journey of entrepreneurship. Those cycles you're referencing, sometimes you read in the business books that even, some of your key people, they may be able to grow to 1, 2 cycles, but sooner or later, you're going to have to bring in some people who have actually been at that next level.
That's right.
But you, as the founder of the entrepreneur, you're still there. You've got to grow. I mean, at some point, you can replace yourself or, exit or whatever, but you got to get through a lot of cycles yourself. So this growth mindset, this ability to change, evolve, and grow ourselves is it seems to be at the very heart of entrepreneurship.
Yeah. And listen, you don't have to if you don't want to. That's up to you. Listen, I got a call literally yesterday from a friend of mine that I haven't talked to in, 40 years. I used to actually live with this person, and he hasn't read one book since we lived together. Not one book. He hasn't been to one event. He's not listened to one podcast, and he's slightly older than I am. He looked like he was 20 years older than I was. And he looked like he was on such a decline. I was shocked. And he was making a little bit more money than he was making when we lived together in our 20s. And yes, he's a husband. And yes, he's a father. And yes, he's a grandfather. He's gotten older, but he has not grown. He's actually gone backwards. He looks worse, sounded worse. It was like, oh my God, you have not grown. That was his choice. So growth is a choice. If people think they stay the same, no, you don't. Nothing stays the same. Universal law says create or disintegrate. So your choice. And there's never been in the history of our species. I just finished watching a wonderful PBS special on Leonardo da Vinci in the Renaissance era. And, 550 years ago, whatever. What we're in right now, the AI era, will dwarf the Renaissance era, the agricultural revolution, industrial revolution, computer revolution by a factor that we can't even imagine. We have just entered the quantum realm of change. And you're either going to adapt now and become the better version of yourself, and there's paths to doing that, or as Charles Darwin said, adapt or become extinct.
I've been really enjoying one of Deepak Chopra's latest books, The Quantum Body. And sooner or later, we're probably going to be talking about quantum marketing, I suppose.
We are.
Absolutely.
We're already doing quantum marketing, in a sense, neuromarketing is accessing, levels of human consciousness. I can't remember the name of the author, but many years ago, he wrote Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow. And like I said, even as I'm speaking with you right now and the audience, some of you may be watching me, right? That I'm sitting in San Diego. You might be seeing my bright colored shirt and my nice, colored glasses. And my light, right, is traveling through the camera that's not connected to anything, beaming up to a satellite, somewhere back down to your mobile phone, computer, or iPad, going through your camera, the light going through your eyes at a slow enough pace for your brain to decipher that guy talking, knowing what he's saying when, whenever you were born, you had no idea what I was saying. You didn't even understand language. You didn't even see when you were born. And your brain's deciphering, decoding all of that and making sense of it, hopefully sense of it. That's a miracle. So we are already communicating at the quantum level. And then you have this feeling about what's going on right now, that you're either excited about it, you're either afraid of it, you're uncertain about it. That's a feeling that the words that I'm using in our conversation is causing within you. That's quantum level, communication. But then there's the entanglement, since we're all entangled, and there's communication happening at vast distances, that we're aware of also. And I think we're going to find out a lot more about that, Fleet, over the next several years as well.
It's an interesting time to be alive, to say the very least.
For sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, John. This has been illuminating. Again, I'd like to reference that beautiful ebook you showed us a moment ago that you put together. Well, it's a physical book you have there, The Power of Visualization. So that's available to everyone in our audience right now. You can see the link right down below the video here and click on that. You can access that and learn more about John's work and programs.
Yeah, it'll take everybody to that page right over there, and they can just download their copy right over there.
Wonderful. Absolutely.
So we'll give that to everybody as a gift. You don't have to buy anything, and it'll be our gift to you for, making your life a little bit easier and more of a masterpiece.
Thank you so much, John Assaraf, NeuroGym, and an incredible business entrepreneur and marketer. Thank you so much for all you continue to share with so many and the success you help so many create.
Thank you, Fleet. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me on the Radical Responsibility Podcast. Remember, real change happens when we commit to our growth, face our challenges with compassion, and stay open to transformation. If you found this episode helpful, I encourage you to subscribe and help us spread the message of healing and personal empowerment. Stay grounded, stay present, and stay true to you. Take care.